Christos, so happy to have you on the show, man. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. I'm so glad being here.
Man, it's an honor to have you. And before I butcher the introduction completely, tell the world, who are you and what do you do?
Oh, my name is Christos and I have multiple roles. So one can describe me as a digital marketeer. Someone could describe me as a designer because I've studied graphic design, but also an event professional because I have an event entertainment firm in Greece for the last 12 years, I think. But I'm DJing weddings. No, I used to DJ weddings since 1996. I also organize conventions. I'm a speaker. I'm an educator. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a complex personality guy. But most people know me as an Instagram guy, a digital marketer trying to help people grow their audience, trust, credibility, business using social media, especially Instagram.
This is how I met you on Instagram. And for people who don't know him, Christoph, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Absolutely, Christos.
Is a pioneer from my point of view in marketing and social media, but also in the psychology of persuasion from my point of view. Because I don't know, man, like how many people are following you right now?
160 something in my main account and 20,000 in my secondary backup account.
Yeah, for normal people, when you say 160 something, you mean 1,000, not 160 something.
Yes, 1,000, sorry.
Just so you know that. And yeah, that's one of the things that I would like to speak on with you later on. But I would like to dedicate this episode not only to talk about the tactics and rhythms that you discovered in order to help people to tell their story to the world, but first I would like to learn about your story. And I think a good time to start there is to just ask you right away is, how did you grow up? Like, tell us a little bit about your journey of becoming.
I'm the first kid in a family of 5 children. Mm-hmm. We grew up in Greece, in the capital, in Athens, and both parents were kind of teachers, so they pushed us toward education, not pushed us in a bad term, but in a good way, to read, to study, to try to educate ourselves. So I've tried to get to the university, but I failed twice, but they were wise enough to encourage me to follow my passion, which was design. So I've joined the best private school in Greece when it comes to design, and I got my diploma and then bachelor and then master's and then postgraduate in design. I've opened my own creative studio, but I was also into music and into entertaining people, and I always wanted to be a DJ, so I started DJing my friends' parties during high school. I know some of you may have been there. And this hobby/passion became a business by joining the weddings and event world and by starting a company called Showtime, which I rebranded to Wedding Republic back in 2017, I think. And also in 2017, I was switched and I've started helping my fellow DJs and industry professionals get better in sales, business, communication, stuff like that. Because I had followed, I had taken so many sales and marketing and business courses and seminars and coaching calls. And that led us to organizing a big convention in Greece back in 2017, and then another one in 2018, and then 2 more in 2019 until COVID hit. And at the end of 2019, I've decided to focus on my Instagram. I was on Instagram, but I was on Instagram, in the way most understood being on Instagram. So posting photos from my friends' weddings, and photos from a vacation, etc. But at some point, I figured out by watching some great coaches and mentors and educators, I figured a way to use my Instagram to teach people something, to share what I know, or to share what I was learning. So I've started leveraging this new format back then, the carousels, those slideshows, to convey a message, to share a lesson, to share some tips, or just to say an interesting story. And I had, I don't know, 300 followers back then. So at the end of 2019, 300, 400 followers. And on December 15, 2019, standing on an audience of 500 followers, I've switched my content to English because I was posting in Greek back then. Hoping, dreaming that I could be at 10K, 10,000 followers by the end of 2020. So in a year. The end of that year got me sitting on a 100,000 followers audience. So yeah, I could say I have exceeded my expectations by far. And then I went back, then the COVID hit, so this gave me all the time I needed to focus on my Instagram and my new journey. I went back to school, I went back to university to get my digital marketing diploma at the age of 47. And yeah, here we are. New degree, new course, new business, new experiences, new lessons, new fuck-ups, new everything.
Yeah, I'm always interested that I think Instagram tempts us to forget that the number of our followers, that they are real people, right?
Yes.
And it's like, I was one of those followers, and right now I'm listening to you. It's just one of the likes from your photos. It's always interesting to see, there's a real person on the other side of the world who follows me, who emulates my behavior. I think that's always inspiring. But one of the things that I would like to touch on right now is, how old are you right now? Because one of the things that fascinated me about you was that you struck me as kind of like myself as a late bloomer. And Instagram is a young platform when you think about it. It's like, but man, when you grow up, it's those kind of technologies weren't available to you, which makes it all the more fascinating to me and interesting, is that you learned all these things so quickly and exceeded at them. So my question to you basically is, how old are you, and what was the first sign that you would become an entrepreneur of global magnitude?
I'm 48. And I got, again, I have to say once more, thanks to my parents, we were always up to date. So I got my first computer back in it was 1984. Yes, 1984. Were you born back then?
No, I wasn't. I'm 19, late of 88, man. That's crazy.
Okay. So I got my first computer back then. And I was up to date with technology and new systems and everything that was coming up. I was blessed to be able, my parents, to be able to afford us the technology and the new stuff, not to flex them, but I don't know. It's their wisdom. Okay, they saw where this world was going, and they took care of giving us all the right tools. So I was familiar with technology and with the internet, the old internet back then, the dial-up.
When you couldn't call somebody when you were in the internet.
Exactly.
I remember
exactly.
I'm old too.
And I needed like 20 to 30 minutes to download an MP3 song of 3 megabytes from LimeWire or from Napster, etc. No, piracy is bad, guys. Okay, but okay, I wasn't wise back then. So yeah, we were in technology, and then by studying design, again, I've started my design lessons using, I think it was Photoshop 3, version 3, or Photoshop 4, I don't know, and Illustrator and CorelDRAW, etc. So joining this new, plus chatting with strangers in a non-visual environment, so text-only chats. like MIRC, etc. So this whole world of social media wasn't something new for me, but I understand people of my age or even older, so baby boomers and Gen Xers, feeling a bit, uncomfortable or feeling a bit like they're digital immigrants. So we are coming from a different era where we grew up offline and we've learned how to establish connections and meeting people and building relationships off social media, offline. And now they have to redefine themselves online. And it's not that easy, but again, I'm trying to teach them that it is easy because all you have to do is be who you are offline, online. It takes some practice, but you have to do nothing more. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to reinvent yourself or to create a different persona. Just be you, but learn how to do it online. So if you are calling people by name offline, start doing the same online. So enough with a dude, bro, girl, etc. Visit their account, visit their profile, check their name and call them by name, and support people and like people and engage with people and give back and give first and smile at them. So all the things we do automatically offline, start doing them online. Okay, you cannot smile, use a fucking emoji. Or send them a DM, or send them a voice message, or send them a video. I mean, it's not that hard. But yeah, it's... I was kind of fortunate and blessed to see social media and join social media coming from a place where I was already used into using technology and into talking with strangers online and into, I don't know, expressing myself and what I do in the digital space, in the digital world.
One of the things I like about you, Christoph, is you try new things. I think it takes courage to try things where you risk humiliation, failure, rejection, or other people judging you. And you've mentioned your parents a couple of times. And you can imagine that, like, as the host of the psychology podcast, like, I'm interested in how people grew up and the people who helped us to become who we are today. What kind of lessons did you learn from your parents or by watching your parents that helped you with your current career?
We learn to appreciate art, so books, art, classical music, music in general, etc. And then most of our lessons were how to support the weaker, support those who needed help, not flexing what we had, what we were blessed having, and help others, mostly things like that. And they were telling us, we don't care what you decide to become, what path would you choose to take as your profession, but no matter what you do, try to be the one who's making the decisions. So if you want to become the guy who is picking up the garbage, be the one who is making the route, be the one who is deciding what's the optimal route to take. So becoming the engineer behind every profession. And small lessons like that were mostly about helping and supporting others. And this is something I try to do, and I still try to do also in my social media presence. So support smaller accounts, say yes to people, give them opportunities, allow them to get access to my audience by doing some guest posts, etc., shouting them out in my stories, and of course not to everyone, but to those who really deserve it. In terms of consistency, passion, dedication, discipline, quality, design, fresh ideas, etc. And this is what I'm trying to teach also my daughter now.
Mm-hmm. Before we talk about that, is that's one of the things that inspired me, that my job did for me in a different way. It's like I'm a counselor and I help people to better their lives, and it's a job where you're daily reminded not to start your day with what can I get for myself, but who can I help. And that's one of the things that I like about your content, is that I think it's interesting to me, the correlation between character and what you do online, because some people use Instagram to show me. On your channel, I think it's the opposite. Could you tell us a little bit about a story, how you came to that conclusion that it's you serve humanity better by helping instead of showing the world how very successful and amazing you are? Because when I go to your channel, I think about, this guy is trying to help me. And it's not about telling you, hey, these are 7 signs that Christoph is the guy now. Here, book my seminar or something. Could you maybe speak some wisdom on that?
This, I think, I mean, I can't define exactly when this has started, but I think that from a very young age, I was the type of kid who wanted to share things. So whenever I was listening to a new song, I wanted to share it. And when I was listening to a new joke, I wanted to share it, or reading a new book, or watching a new movie. So this was something that came from inside. I cannot define the exact time, place, or reason that caused it. So this is who I am. I have to maybe I have to look deeper to spot it. But then I've realized that the more you make your content, your conversations, your behavior about other people, they will stop and pay attention, because now you're talking about them, and we love having the focus on us. So the more I talk about me, the less they care, because they care about their own problems, and they care about their own questions, and they care about their own journey and their own pain points. But the moment we start, both offline and online, focusing on them, we own their attention, because now they're stopping and they're listening, because we are talking about them. And the moment you start applying it on your social media, you will be amazed, because it's kind of a paradox. So the less you sell, the more you sell. The less you promote, the more famous you become. The less you talk about you, the more they want to know about what you do. The less you, you're flexing and you're demonstrating and you're showcasing your achievements, the more they Google you and they try to spot your website and they want to join your newsletter and they are calling you on WhatsApp in the middle of the night and they try, to get more of you, because they have experienced that you're here for them. And it is a paradox, and that makes it so hard for people to apply. They think, oh my God, I mean, if I'm not going to talk on Instagram or on my social media about what I do, how am I supposed to sell? How am I supposed to grow my business? But trust me, it's the exact opposite. I don't even have a link on my account. I don't have story highlights to promote my services. And I'm getting new students, new clients every day, because they are simply asking me, Christos, can I work with you? What type of services do you offer? Because they care, and they care simply because I care.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm very interested by, is the observation that fortune is the companion of character. That if you focus on being a good person and helping as many as you can, that often this is a quick pathway to getting as much as you need. And why this is the case is a great mystery, but I think it's very beautiful. When was the moment where you discovered that Instagram is no longer a photo sharing app? Because I think that's something that not everybody has understood yet. I think it's very difficult to tell other people what Instagram really is. And so I wanted to ask you right now, like, if you had to conceptualize it, how would you do that?
I got the message a whole year before Mosseri, the head of Instagram, announced it. And we got this message starting by watching those carousels, this format that started in the designer community. And the moment those people started to share lessons and tips and experiences and wisdom, they have started growing, I mean, at an insane pacing. So they were getting 300 and 500 and 600 and 1,000 followers a day. And I was one of the first, maybe part of the first generation who started creating carousels. So I saw my first carousel on September 2019, and on their profile, they had posted their first carousel in June 2019. So it was like 3 months in. And I've started creating carousels late September. So the moment I saw them, that was the moment I knew that I could use Instagram no longer as a photo sharing app, but as a lesson sharing app and as a help sharing app. So we got the message, a small community that started growing faster and faster. So from the designer community, it was the branding community and the digital marketing community, and then all type of coaches, and now carousels are everywhere. And so back then we knew that Instagram is so much more than sharing your cat, your slippers, your pajamas, your vacation, etc. So for me, Instagram has never been a photo sharing app, because I couldn't understand it as a photo sharing app. I couldn't see the point of sharing photos, because I was sharing my photos with my Facebook family. I was a Facebook kid, okay. I've joined Facebook back in 2008, yes, or 2007. Anyway, at the beginning. And then Reels happened, TikTok happened basically. And Instagram understood that people now were loving consuming content in a different way. And in order for them to stay relevant as a platform and maintain their demographics and not become like the Facebook, a platform for older people, and since they wanted to stay competitive and they wanted to attract younger demographics, they've focused on Reels, but not by pushing us to start creating Reels. We were already loving this way of communication, of creating content and consuming content. They have just adapted. So Instagram has stopped being a photo sharing app, not because they have decided to do it, just by following what people now want. So since people now love to consume short format videos, everybody should adapt. And if a multi-billion company like Meta, Facebook, Instagram, even YouTube is adapting, then every small business, coach, personal brand should adapt as well, or they will die. I mean, social media wise, hopefully. But yes, now if you keep posting the same way you were back in 2017, 2016, 2017, you won't get the attention of people. Not because the algorithm has changed, but because people have changed. So we have to figure out a way to start using Instagram for something else, to educate people, to inspire people, to entertain people, to tell stories on Instagram, and not just sharing one photo. Yes, of course, photo-related professions like photographers and fashions and wedding planners, etc., will suffer more because this is what they know. But for the rest of business owners, it's kind of easier. Okay, you don't count on photos specifically as a photographer does. it's easier for you to start sharing video content and to start sharing, I don't know, your quotes, your tweet typos, your memes, your stories, your carousels, anything. Turn your Instagram, instead of your photo scrap album, turn it into a mini blog or your journal or anything. Start talking to people. Instead of presentations, start conversations, because every photo was a presentation. That's my new logo. That's my latest photo from my travel in, I don't know, Hawaii. And that's my new creation when it comes to handmade jewelries and et cetera, et cetera. Those were all presentations. People are fed watching presentations. They want to start talking to you. Start conversations.
I love that. One of the questions that I had is, I think we are not only become the person that we are today by our caretakers and by our upbringing, but also by the challenges that we overcome, by the hardship and failures. Do you have a story about failure that later prepared you for success?
I don't know. I mean, I since I've never watched my failures and my obstacles as such, so I was seeing opportunities, because I've suffered a lot, not something serious, thank God, but I never watched the bad things that have happened to me as bad things, but as a new opportunity to try something different. So, for example, when I lost my account, my Instagram account that got disabled back in November 2020, based on a mistake. So they've sent me an email 30 days after.
For people who don't know, you had 70,000 people on that account, right?
Yeah, I had 75, 78.
Yeah.
And suddenly one morning I got this message that my account was disabled for impersonating someone else. And I was like, what? But this is me. Who am I impersonating? I mean, I have my full name and my photo and everything. And I've started appealing, etc. Anyway, 30 days later, I got my account back with an apologizing message, you know. But anyway, that was like a huge obstacle. Okay, I was in the middle of a launch. I had just launched my first ebook, and I was getting, you know, some serious traction when it comes to coaching, etc. And now I had no account. So instead of sitting back and complaining and, oh my God, what's going to happen? The next day I've started my secondary, my backup account that got to 20K in like 30 days. So I immediately took action and I said, okay, if that account gets back, good. If it doesn't get back, okay, I will build a new one. Or, I don't know, after my last convention, I was feeling so tired and so exhausted and so, you know, this interaction with so many people organizing and planning it and executing it has drained my energy. So I said, okay, it's time for me to step back from my communities on Facebook, etc., and start doing something for myself, a bit more quieter, a bit more private. And I focused on my Instagram. So every little thing that's happening to you, you can turn it into an excuse to not do something else, or to stay and start watching Netflix for the whole weekend, or to see it as an opportunity to try something new, or to push harder, or to start going a new direction, or start a new adventure, or anything.
Like that, you think about, oh, sorry, please continue. I interrupted you.
No, I was just going to say that if you start seeing your obstacles this way, after a couple of years, in your memory, they're not obstacles anymore. You think of them as blessings, as great opportunities. Oh my God, thank God this happened. And I took this different road, this different path.
Yeah.
So when people ask you, tell me about, obstacles and failures, etc., you're like, I don't have anything to share because I cannot remember them as failures.
Mm. That's a beautiful mindset where you see obstacles as opportunities. And that's one of the strange things that I learned from my business is then people often come to me and they have, when something catastrophic happened in their life, but I have like first row seats to the entire story. And it's always these crises, like when a partner breaks up with them, when they get fired, when they lose money, when they get sick, that often are the building blocks of the kind of person that they have to become moving forward in order to tap into their destiny, so to say. So I'm a little bit skeptical to say this is a challenge or a crisis because most often it's like a blessing delivered in sandpaper. Anyway, your
Of course,
father.
I'm
I'm sorry.
speaking without having experienced anything serious or big enough. So I haven't lost a close one, and I haven't got a divorce, or or I haven't had a family member sick. So thank God everything works well now. So every failure I had, it was business wise, or a bad business move, or a bad investment mood, that is basically nothing, comparing to health issues and losing someone you love,
Yeah.
etc., etc. So I don't want to be like, the super guys. Okay, anything that
Yeah,
happens to
yeah,
you,
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
great
yeah.
opportunity. I
Yeah,
don't know.
you
I
have
can
cancer. You
speak.
have to see it as
Yeah,
a gift. No, no. Of
yes.
course, there's like a limitation to it. However,
I
like
can speak for the things I know.
one of the things you just mentioned is that I'm personally interested in. It's like I'm a hardcore entrepreneur. I work basically every waking hour, and when I see somebody like you who is producing outstanding results in his career dimension, and I think almost 200,000 people would agree with me that this is the case for you. For me, I also see an iceberg. Like this is what I see. What I don't see is the many hours you put into it, the many strategies that failed, the many sacrifices that you have to make. And what I'm interested in is what I would like to ask you is like how you are able to preserve the equilibrium in your life with your relationship, with your children, with your personal health and your mental health is how do you do that, and what advice would you have to maybe a younger Christos who didn't have the wisdom that you have right now?
What keeps me sane is that I do things I love, and I have learned to love things I do, because it's easy for anyone to start doing just the things they love. But this is the mindset of a hobbyist. So I feel like doing this today, let's do it. Or I don't feel like doing this today, let's not do this. This is how we treat our hobbies. So do I feel like go fishing? Do I feel like go for, to ride my bike? Let's do it. Pros have a different mindset. Pros learn to love what they do, and if they can't, they're professional enough to do it even without loving it. That's the professional mentality, the professional mindset, as stated by Seth Godin himself in his book, This is Marketing. And I am lucky enough to love what I do. So I love creating content. I love teaching people. I love designing for people. So everything I do is things I love. And since I'm not strong enough to love what I do, to start loving what I do, because I do what I love, I'm delegating those things. So I'm terrible at organizing my finance, and so I've hired someone. Or I'm terrible at keeping my appointments, etc. So I've hired someone else. So by giving away the things you are not so excited in doing, you maintain a great mental health, a mental, your sanity.
Yeah.
And also, if you love what you do, and if you learn, yes, and if you do what you love, and if you learn to love what you do, you don't carry all those troubles and feelings at home. So when you get back home, your kid is seeing a happy guy, and you can be a better parent for her. You're not like, oh my God, leave me alone now. I have, to decompress or to de-stress myself, etc. But another thing is that I know that if I need to take a break, the world won't stop turning. Take a break. Don't post for a couple of days. And go away for a couple of days. Go away for a week. And but also set some boundaries. So I try to to give one day of the week to my wife. So no clients, no coaching sessions, nothing. Just me and her, and spend the night, the whole day together. It can be talking to each other. It can be going for a walk. It can be going to the movies, etc. So it's all about priorities. It's all about how you're organizing your life. Because if you try to be everything, if you are afraid of judgment, if you're trying to be perfect from your first try, this is what definitely will cause burnouts and mental health issues. If you understand that it's okay to suck, it's okay to start and suck, and it's okay to fail, and it's okay to start seeing results in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, then you start feeling way more relaxed and way less pressure on what has to be done. Because now everybody is seeing Christos and how he got 160,000 followers, and oh my God, I have to do it, and I have to be as good designer as he is, or as good a storyteller as he is. And this can really mess us up. And it's not just how people see me, it's also how I see people. I see community friends growing 3,000 people a day. And I'm like, okay. And my thought process is, if they can do it, it's doable. This doesn't mean I have to do it today. This gives me courage that this can be achieved. So let's regroup, let's sit back, let's figure out other ways. How can I experiment? How can I test new waters? What can I change? How can I try? But I don't feel like this urge to do it. Oh, if they are doing it, I have to do it myself, and I have to try anything, and I have to sacrifice anything else to get the same results. Because my priority now is not to grow faster or to be way bigger in the least amount of time. My priorities now is to keep posting every day, to manage to serve all my students and clients and give them like a top-notch experience, spend time with family, etc., etc.
What was the first time you ventured into coaching? Because one of the things that I'm interested in is it's one of my dreams is to be one of the most effective online trainers, counselors, coaches in the world. And I think it's great coaches have commonalities among them, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a business coach, whether it's a social media coach. In the end, what you're doing is you are helping the person on the other side to acquire new skills, change their habits, change their belief systems, change their values, and give them a little bit of a motivational encouragement for that. Tell us a little bit about your coaching journey, and maybe you have a case of your private practice, of your coaching practice, where somebody of the people you worked with taught you something that was meaningful or learningful for your own life.
I mean, I was kind of a coach like forever. So I was sometimes the student that other students were coming to me, Christos, did you get that? Because I was sharing, I was a giver. And if you're a giver, this means you have this, I don't know, teacher gift, because you're not afraid of sharing everything you know. People who don't want to share or who don't like to share, how are they supposed to coach someone else? I mean, their first reaction is, I know something, let's keep it for myself. It's like the Lord of the Rings, the Gollum with the ring, you know, my precious, my precious. You know, they don't want to share. So I mean, you can't expect from your coach to keep things back. You expect from your coach to share everything they know and then some. So just by being the person who likes to share things and share his knowledge and share what he's learned, what he has learned and everything. Plus, since both of parents were teachers, it could be, I don't know, a genetic thing, or maybe it was, I don't know. I don't know. Starting in Facebook communities, I was sharing articles I've read, blog posts, website, etc., in order to help my community to take a step further. And at some point, people were asking me to do some Zoom calls. Christos, I have a question. Can you help me? Okay, let's jump on a Zoom call and let's see if I can help you. So they were asking me things. And my answers were giving them help. And I'm like, okay, so they're getting value. So what I know can help them. And at some point on Instagram, I said, okay, let's announce that I'm doing coaching sessions. It was Black Friday 2020. So I made a post, okay, my books are 30% off, etc. And my coaching sessions, what coaching sessions? I didn't have a coaching session on Instagram, are now 30% off also. And I got like 50 students from that post. And I'm like, okay, so I guess now I can define myself also as a coach. But I do have my own coaches and I keep studying and I keep evolving myself because I want to be able to provide my students with the highest form of help and the highest, and I don't know, I want to provide them with a great experience. That's it. And the great coach for me is the guy who is helping you find better questions. Because every time we start without knowing anything, our questions are stupid. And the coach's job is to help you start asking better questions. Because the better your questions, the better the answers will be. And the better the answers will be, those answers will lead to even better questions. And this is how we learn. If a student is not asking questions, you cannot be the high level of coach you're dreaming of being. Because they will be like, for example, in my case, Christos, what kind of hashtag should I use? And I'm like, oh, okay, here we start. And I want to talk to them about mindset, and I want to talk to them about, strategy, and I want to talk to them about more advanced things. But my first job is to teach them how to ask me better questions. Because if they ask you about hashtags, it's not your fault, it's not their fault. But somebody has to teach them that this is not the important question you should be asking. So you're answering them that question, even though it looks and it sounds silly to you, and you also explain them things so they can give you the next question, which is a bit better, and then the next question, and the next questions, and so on, and this is how we learn. And that's how I see coaching. Get you from the bad questions to the really good ones. And at some point, every coaching session will end up talking about philosophy and why are we here and what's our purpose on earth, etc. Everything ends up there.
If you could have a message for new students, and the question for you would be, what's a question you feel more people should ask you in the very first coaching session with you, Christoph? Because I'm trying to hook up on what you just said. So why not ask the question master and see if we can get something?
All our questions are me related. So I'm on social media for me. So all my questions are how I will achieve things. The really great questions is them questions. How can I help them more? How can I serve them more? How they can get more value out of me? What could make them more interested in what I post? How can they feel more relaxed in my account? And so the them related questions are always better than the me related questions.
I love that. I love that. And it's so interesting. And also, I think the quality of our questions also dictates the quality of our life, which is very, very strange. Anyway, another question that I have for you: if you would build up like sort of like a Frankenstein influencer who has a noble cause, who has 1 year in order to help 100,000 people with his account, what kind of person would you cook up in the lab? Like, what's the characteristic are, the habits, the belief systems? What would that look like? What's the recipe on a journey towards 100K? Because one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you was I'm also the founder of a university, and we want to help as much people as possible within the next 3 years. And you can't get there without knowing how to help on a scalable level. So that would be my question for you. You would cook a person up in the lab that produces similar results to you. What would that look like?
This is not an easy question, and this is not an easy task, because the exact recipe I would give someone to grow fast is not the recipe that's the best for them. So you cannot address to masses, and you cannot grow fast without doing the average stuff. And by average mean what most people want, what most people like. This is the average, what the average person likes. But for people who don't like average, and for people who like to serve a higher level of anything, it's like stepping back. I don't want you to be less than what you can be to talk to the masses. But for someone who doesn't care about, I don't know, spirituality or mindset, etc., I could go, okay, if you want to grow fast, talk to the masses. Talk to the masses in a way they understand. Go do trends and go do them, I don't know, in a mass volume, and do them better than others. But when it comes to meaningful growth, I would say, because there is a way of growing, even in a meaningful way, is keep nothing back, share everything, talk to their language. And when I mean talk to their language, I mean answer their simply / maybe silly questions, and understand where they're coming from in terms of some are entry-level audience, some are more advanced, etc. But the more you give them, the faster they will understand that your account is all about them, the faster you will grow. And then we have some strategic things that if you treat Instagram as the top of your funnel, as the entry level to your life, to your services, etc., then it's not about who is entering your audience, because the filtering will happen at a later stage. So you can start by going wider, you can start by talking to more people, you can start by talking about more things, always staying focused. So I don't mean post about gym and about your vacation and about marketing and about psychology and about cars and everything. What I mean is stay on your lane, but start playing between more universal topics and more specific and more focused ones, more advanced ones. And take care of your production value. It can either be design or great editing. So simple message, diverse message, from entry level and more universal and cliche things to more advanced ones. Great production level, and showcase your personality. People make friends faster than brand logos. And people connect with people faster than they connect with logos, especially when they can recognize that logo fast enough yet. So it's not like we're talking about Apple or Harley Davidson or Tesla or I don't know what, or Samsung or anything. We are talking now about a new business that, okay, maybe our mom recognizes our logo or our best friends, but the rest of the world, all they see is a geometric shape or some form of shape. I don't know. But a face is a face. The face has expressions. The face is smiling. The face is looking at them right in the eyes, and they can connect faster, better, and stronger. So those three elements: value, production quality, plus personality. If an account manages to work well on all three items, they can grow, I mean, like really fast.
Mm-hmm. So it's still possible. That is interesting. That was a beautiful answer. I would like to go to the last segment of the interview because I know you're running on a clock and I want to be respectful of your time. Maybe we can do this another time because I have thousands of questions that would be interested to hear your take on. Is before I move to the last section of the interview, what do you think is the question that I should have asked you today that other podcasters should have too? What's the question that not enough people who interview you ask you?
No, you have already exceeded my, I mean, you did great. Oh my God, you went and we've talked about my past and we've talked about my parents and we've talked about my failures. And we've covered Christos from a lot of different entry points. Most of my interviewers focus on my Instagram journey because this is what I'm known for. And this is what they want to provide their audience, information about Instagram. So their audience may not give a dime about my past, etc. So you have already been different, and thank you for that. But a question, I don't know. I mean, I've never thought about that. What would I like an interviewer to ask me?
Maybe you can think about that some more, or you can interrupt me if it pops up in your head. Actually, I tried to emphasize that in the beginning where we were offline is what I want to not only provide myself with, but my followers and my listeners is a blueprint for how to become a good person. And I don't believe that you would have had the success that you had if there was not like a good character beneath all of it. And that's the thing that I want people to emulate first and foremost. I don't want that they go to your Instagram account and copy your hashtags and your camera design, even though it is great. I want that they go to your account and see courage, humility, diligence, faith, like a guy who never gives up. And these are the kind of qualities that I feel transcend niches and that are important for whatever we do, whether it's in love, career, or all other aspects of life. And you provided me with that. So I will...
you know what? Even bad people can succeed. And if it was only for good people to succeed, all those criminals and drug dealers, etc., won't be successful, but they have a lot of money, they have a lot of, success and fame, etc. So it's not like only good guys, but it's all about being the ones they love you, to be proud of you, so you can sleep like in peace, going like, okay, I've done nothing wrong today. I hadn't cheated anyone. I didn't do anything that goes against my core values and how I was grown, etc. And this is the most important thing about me. So every time I go to bed, was I able to help a person today? Did I share something that wasn't clickbaity in the bad sense of the term? And uh, did I do everything I could to share what I know and what I believe today? Because tomorrow I may know something more and I may believe something different. So my obligation tomorrow is to share what I know and what I believe in today. Tomorrow, I mean. And the moment I'm able to sleep knowing that I did my best today, I feel successful. That's what success means to me. Knowing that I did everything I could today based on the things I knew today and I know today, and based on the things I believe today. And I tried to share them with my Instagram family, Instagram community, Instagram friends, audience, students, etc.
I think we're going to skip the last segment of the interview because we are running out of time. Christos, it was an honor to have you on the show. Where can people find you, and how can we support you on your mission to make the world a better place?
They can find me on Instagram. The handle is at the Christos Nikas, the as the article, the Christos Nikas. And they can support me by studying my post and try to apply my tips to build their audience, their impact, and their influence to their audiences. They don't even have to follow me. Just study my post and start taking action. This is all I want.
Will do. Thank you so much for the interview. And to everybody who listens, thank you for tuning in. And I wouldn't have had this guest on the show if I wouldn't believe in him. I think he's a great guy. So go check out his page, share his post, and not only study from what he's doing on social media, but see how he's treating life and how he's focused on helping others, because I think this is why we're all here for. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time.